So this afternoon, off round to my good mate Rob's. He's a Gooner. Going to talk to him about tribalism and why he goes to Arsenal and why he went to Arsenal, his relationship with his dad and his brother, and what that whole package meant to him. So I'll see you there. We're at Rob's, and this is his pride and joy, his photo of Michael Thomas lifting the ball over Bruce Grobbelaar in the last minute in 1989 and winning the championship. And over here, I think we've got his Charlie George photo from 1971. What got you into supporting Arsenal?
Family tradition, basically. My old man was actually from Trinidad, and when he was at school in probably the 1940s, they had an instructional video made by the all-conquering 1930s Arsenal team.
That lost to Warsaw 2-0 in 1933, yeah?
That would be the ones. They had this instructional video, so all the kids, basically, all the boys at the Presentation College in Trinidad supported the Arsenal.
And you? When was your first game?
It was, I can tell you exactly, it was Everton at home, I think in the 82-83 season. November the 19th, 1983.
Score?
2-1 for the Arse.
Do you feel any sort of tribal affinity with other Arsenal fans? You know, when those great moments when you kind of, you know, you win the league or you know, you make it to the Champions League final or whatever. Do you feel a kind of a tribal belonging?
Not so much anymore, really. But maybe that's because I haven't been for a while. But I mean, I've got great memories of those sort of stranger hugging moments when, you know, a last minute goal or whatever it is.
But beyond those moments, is it possible to have that sense of that tribal belonging? You know, where you, I don't know, just if you meet a Gooner in the street, you feel like you and he belong to something.
I do. I always, you know, if I see a kid wearing an Arsenal shirt, it does warm my heart a little bit for some reason.
And is it because of the past, or is it because of a possible future?
No, I think it is because of the past, really. I think their footballing future is a pretty barren and sterilised and crappy place, actually. You've spoken about small p, political, and I don't feel that much affinity, really, because I don't get the sense that most football fans give a shit about any of that. And that is a bother for me. Whether it should be, I don't know. Maybe it is about the 90 minutes, like you said, but I don't know. I can't disassociate that 90 minutes from everything else that goes on in the day.
And you felt connected to the team, did you?
I probably wasn't at all conscious of that at that stage, but certainly in the late 80s, early 90s, when I was going a lot with my dad, and even later than that, in sort of late 90s, early noughties. When I moved to London, and me and my brother used to go, I definitely felt a real affinity to the players. It was like, you know, that was the sort of Adams, the back five era, who were there throughout the 90s kind of thing. And it just felt like, we were on the same team as them.
Feel that now?
No, not in the least.
Why?
Because this summer's sort of transfer shenanigans have sort of made me feel a bit sick, really. Adebayor, one good season, thinks he's the new Henry. Come again, mate. Asking for a massive pay rise. Pleb, one good season. Didn't ask for a pay rise, but just fucked off because he could get. Oh, can I say that?
You can say whatever you like, mate. I'll put a disclaimer up.
BBC. Just, you know, gave a really lame excuse about, I don't want to live in a really hectic, crowded city. Well, move to Barcelona then, because it's nice and quiet there, isn't it? And not just at the Arsenal, but sort of across the board in the Premiership. There's just been players after more money basically, and they don't care about the teams that they're playing for. But I do have the sense that the board members who have been there for a long time at Arsenal have run the club very well, and whether that is because something they're doing consciously in the interest of the fans, I don't know, because it obviously serves their interest as well to run the club well. Irrespective of the board's motives, whether they're running the club for their personal financial gain or for the good of fans, they've done a good job over a long time. They must have made some emotional investment in it. But if somebody just walks in with X million pounds and thinks, right, I want to have X times £2 million in 5 years' time, and I don't really care how I do that, I would feel that they weren't making any emotional investment at all, and it was purely a vehicle for them to make money. The Arsenal Supporters Trust, I get the sense, is a good supporters trust, and they're fighting against fighting against is maybe too strong, but they're trying to influence a very big, powerful entity in Arsenal Football Club, and they do a good job, and they do speak to people at the club, and I think they present a sensible case on behalf of the fans, and they try and be very inclusive. And I know you've struggled at Walsall to get people involved with the Supporters Trust, and it must be frustrating when you're saying come on, get involved, and people aren't. It's important to have a fan's voice in the running of the club, definitely.
Why?
Because otherwise it is just a vehicle for some very small number of people to make money, and if all the many thousands of people who support the club but don't have any financial investment in it aren't getting any sort of return, even if that's just kind of their opinions being listened to, then what do they gain from it? What's the point in them being involved? They might as well just forget it and let a business be run as any other business is run. My sort of disenchantment with it is fairly recent, really. Last 3 seasons, perhaps, that I've really felt it's a world that I've got no connection to now. The incredible salaries and just the sort of hype around transfers and everything else, you know, super, mega, ultra, Armageddon Sunday on Sky Sports. The people in the positions with the most power in the game have got no interest in being more community focused or more socially responsible, even on a very basic level of kind of listening to the fans and trying to do things in the interest of the fans. They've got no reason to do that, I don't think.
So do I need to spend my Saturdays elsewhere, out on my mountain bike, or maybe working with a different charity or whatever?
I can't tell you what to do, but I'm sort of feeling like that's probably what I'll do.
Okay, man. You're going to start?
Thanks very much, mate.
So I've had a text message from Matty last night asking me about how Walsall got on yesterday in celebrating Leicester's win. I had to tell him that I hadn't really got a clue about any of yesterday's scores, and he texted me back to say, I admire your resolve. And resolve is an interesting point, really, an interesting term to use. Connection to something that Joe had said about my cussedness, really, that I got hacked off last year, and that was kind of driving me almost here in a kind of questioning of 30 years worth of obsession almost. So I think that's something I really need to try and unpick in the next few weeks.